But if you're watching out there and you're stuck, you can't come up with a brand new idea for a found footage movie. Make it the Page Master. The Page Master. Turn that into a found footage. Found footage in a library with Christopher Lloyd and Macaulay Culkin.
That'd be perfect. Although, yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Oh my God.
So what are we talking about? Did we say the name of this movie yet?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum. Welcome back to another episode of Found Footage Friday with my co-host, Tom Reimer.
That's me.
Sorry. That's me. Okay, still on this this is 2022, right? No, I'm not. We're not on our
is it like 2019 or something like that?
We are breaking our 2022 streak here. Yeah, we're going to 2019. I'm sorry, you're right. I just got so used to saying that.
So this actually came out before. Okay, so we've watched a movie by the creator of this film before, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were about to introduce it, and I cut you off.
No, you're fine. I just didn't realize it. I got so used to saying that we were doing 2022. Yeah. So we were talking the 2019 found footage film Unknown Visitor, which is done. Neither of us. We've been doing this for how many?
Can't figure this out.
Which is done by Isaac Rodriguez, who is the same person that did Mr. Creep, which Tom and I discussed a couple weeks back.
But Mr. Creep is brand new.
Brand new. Came out like a month and a half ago.
Did not know that there was another before.
Yeah, and when I kind of pitched this one, I didn't know that either. And you recognized the name right away, and I didn't. I'm not really good with that, the naming thing.
Yeah. But it's completely different movie.
Totally different movie.
Conceptually pretty unique. You know, how much can we say without spoiling?
I mean, so it doesn't really have a lot on it anyway. It only has a 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb. But it says a young woman experiences a terrifying series, reading is fundamental, of encounters with an evil spirit in the new house she just moved into.
It is very true.
Did she just move in?
I think that is mentioned at the beginning of
Is it? Oh, we are off to a great start. Okay. She looked pretty comfortable to me. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So, yeah, you give your rating first.
I'll do my rating first. Okay. I enjoyed this movie well enough. Like I was into it. It just is not very long, so it doesn't take much to hold your attention. I think it's like 45 minutes long, which might be the shortest.
No way.
I think it is. Look that up. I think it's like 45 minutes long, which would make it even shorter than the movie Host. I think
52 minutes.
52. Okay, whatever.
I didn't realize that.
Very short.
I genuinely didn't realize it was that short.
Yeah, which
what that says.
Works for this movie. I can't imagine it really being longer.
I was just thinking the same thing. Yep.
So yeah, that's very short for a movie. I used to think the movie The Page Master was really a short movie, but that's like 80-some minutes. So you never thought I'd be talking about The Page Master today.
That's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I used to have a horror figurine, like it was like this big. The book.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean like. Yeah, it takes place in a library, so
it's so good.
Anyways, not found footage. But if you're watching out there and you're stuck, you can't come up with a brand new idea for a found footage movie. Make it the Page Master. The Page Master. Turn that into a found footage in a library with Christopher Lloyd and Macaulay Culkin.
That'd be perfect. Although, yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Oh my God.
So what are we talking about? What did we say the name of this movie yet?
Unknown Visitor. Yes, we did. You're
think
giving
we're
your rating.
you think we're like filming this episode at like 1:00 in the morning and we're
It's not even
delirious?
9 yet.
No, we're so old.
We don't put me in the bucket.
I'm not that much older than you.
No, but you're the one going off on a tangent, not me.
Fair. Okay, I'll just. Sorry to lump you in there. Okay. So, was I going to give my rating? I don't even know where I was going with this. My rating is I'm going to give this movie a 4.
I knew you were going to say that.
Out of 10 tapes. So, watchable, but some big problems. So, definitely worth watching, but lots of things that I'm not going to say yet because that would be spoiling the movie. I mean, can we say how this movie is filmed? Is that a spoiler? Like,
no. So it's filmed entirely through a Ring camera, basically.
Yeah.
A porch camera.
One camera angle for the entire movie, which is really hard to do.
Super great idea.
Yeah, super great idea, but really challenging to pull off. And I think in some ways they pulled it off, and in other ways you saw why it was challenging to do.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion,
you know, it's a really fun fact.
No,
I wrote a horror short about the same thing. Like a while ago.
Master?
No.
No. That would have been a coincidence.
No, about something happening through the doorbell camera. Oh my God.
So you're saying that you came up with the idea for this movie?
No, I'm saying it's just funny that I had done that. No, I wrote it like after this movie came out, but I'd never seen the movie. I just thought it was interesting that it was, because I also thought that was my point is that's going to lead into my thoughts on this, because I obviously wrote that because I thought it was scary is my point. And so that's going to translate into how this movie was effective for me when we get there.
Yeah.
But my rating is, I would probably give this like a 6.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Weird. By episode 50, we should be able to just know.
Yeah, we pretty much do.
Yeah. And I think, like, it's really divisive as far as the scenes that work and the scenes that don't.
I have strong opinions on the scenes that do not.
I probably do too, actually, because the ones that didn't work really did not work for me. And I was just like, oh, so close, you know. But I think it's really it's a smart idea. Like, so the way that this isn't a spoiler. You can see this on the picture for the poster. But the way that this camera is set up, it's set up on a porch that almost looks like a veranda. So it looks like it has like a bit of a wraparound. So there's like, you can see down the steps into the yard. And then to the left on the porch, there's a it goes like this, but you can't see over there. And then you have like the sitting area on the right. At nighttime, you cannot see past a certain point in the yard. And that was really unsettling to me. It's like dead quiet. Nothing is happening, but I was on edge the entire time. So things like that, it had some really good moments that it really used the nothing happens well, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and there were moments where nothing actually did happen.
Yeah.
And I think that later on in the movie, it sort of they played with you a little bit, and that was good. Yeah, there were a couple of really long pauses, and you were like, "Did something just happen?" And I missed it.
Yeah, I found myself kind of like waiting on the jump. Like I was like, "Oh, what's gonna happen?" Because it went on just long enough to make you uncomfortable. I think that a weakness, aside from some of the scenes were a little, like, I guess too much is like, I don't know how to explain that part. We'll dive into that when we get to spoilers. Was the acting and some of the story elements. The acting was really rough, like really rough.
So this is my biggest sort of challenge with the movie like this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to, basically it's a series of really not just a few very long, uncut, unedited scenes. And that's really challenging to do, even for very experienced, talented
I agree.
actors and directors. It's like hard to get that right because the amount of times you need to rehearse, and the dialogue was
Choppy.
long, choppy. But some of those scenes were just really
Unrealistic.
long, unrealistic. Something's happened. The pacing, it was just too fast, and there were certain things that happened, and I said, no, that would never. I mean, you say that was with every horror movie, but like, no, that's not what someone would do in that situation.
Did you think that it was predictable? Not necessarily the scenes, the story. Did you figure out the twist? Like I
No,
did. I did like
no, and I'm not even. I have questions about how to interpret the end. Also, if there's any thoughts about how to interpret that, I
okay.
think it can be interpreted in two ways, and so, or I don't know if it's supposed
Hmm.
to be, but I'm interpreting it in a couple of different ways.
I'm curious
What
what that
actually
was.
happened? Yeah.
Um,
No, but there were certain scenes and even performances by certain actors that were very distracting. Um, I thought.
and I know they fit it in to make it like almost just a few minutes shy of an hour. I feel like there are some scenes with some random things that like really could have been left out and something else could have been
That's.
put in that place.
I think we're thinking of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
And
was a.
that time and then that time could have been, I think, would have helped maybe some of the storytelling too if they had chosen to do something different with those scenes and had
Right.
utilized that time.
It was such a short movie that
Yeah.
there were a couple of instances that really didn't add anything or have anything to really do with the plot,
I
other
laughed. I
than
laughed at both of them. But
other than to like break it up a little bit. Wasn't comic relief. I'm not
I
exactly sure.
I feel like the only thing I can think of is it was an effort to make it feel more realistic, but I don't think it did that.
I think that is what it was trying to. It was trying
It was
to,
the
like,
intention.
over the course of the day, a few
Mhm.
things happen at your
Which
doorbell camera.
yeah, but
Which
like what year is it? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? We'll get
Okay,
into
we
it.
are definitely thinking of the same thing.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably all I can really say about it unspoiled because
Yeah.
the stuff that worked for me is I can't really, dive too much into it without giving too much away. And I do think that if you saw Mr. Creep or if you have watched our review of it, I definitely think this is worth giving a chance.
Yeah.
If you have not seen Unknown Visitor.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally think it's worth watching.
It's only an
Just out
hour
of
long.
fun,
It's on Tubi anyway, so
super short. Yeah, I mean, you can watch this like, make it an easy double feature. You're
yeah,
watching
and
something
not be up too
with this
late.
which is what I did. I made this a double feature.
Well, I was gonna say you could watch this, and I was gonna say you can watch this in one of their found footage, and it's like the length of a normal movie, and you
Now,
can still go
most
to bed.
found footage movies, if you watch any of our episodes, you'll know are almost exactly anywhere from an hour and 28 minutes to an hour and 31 minutes. It's a really weird phenomenon.
Yeah.
There's a few that don't fit that, and this would be one of them. This was only
Mhm.
52 minutes.
Mhm.
And are there any found footage movies that are like even close to 2 hours? I feel like there's one.
There,
We talked about it recently. I forget what it was.
I forgot what it was too. It was like an hour 40 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, he's watching,
Was that one longer? Oh, wow.
maybe. I
Maybe
don't
that.
remember, but I think some of the the international side of
Yeah,
found footage, those
sure.
are
Yeah,
longer. But
yeah.
American found footage
Tend to
is
be really
usually in that
exact.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Um,
right, let's spoil this. Let's
yeah,
go.
let's get into spoilers. Okay.
Okay, why did you like this movie or love this movie?
I really liked the way this was shot. I thought that so the Ring, for those of you who don't know, in addition to flying bugs, I am very uncomfortable when the stupid camera doorbell goes off and there's nothing out there. It makes me super uncomfortable. It freaks me out. I do not like it at all. And I've had like not where I live now, but where I used to live, it would get like these really crazy shots of some weird bugs. And then like it would, whenever something was going on outside that I did want to see, like my camera wouldn't work. And they're just very anxiety inducing in general to me
Yeah.
personally. I do have like I said, I did write a horror short about it because I was like, that would be a great idea for like some crazy something to happen on a doorbell camera.
Yep.
And so that worked. That premise alone worked for me. It was effective. The scenes where nothing happened made me like, I'm serious. I was like, come on. I know, like, because you're just waiting on something to happen. There's a couple of scenes that I really got, like, I actually like not jumped, but kind of was like, oh, the scene,
like the face in the camera.
The face
like,
in the camera. That was so good, Tom.
Yeah.
Come on.
But we saw that recently in another. I guess it always works. It was
What did
the
we see?
trail. The trail. That happened. Remember that?
It worked better in this one for me though.
Oh yes.
And I didn't expect it. And then the other thing that really made me like, ooh, you know, there's like that. I'm trying to think of what part of the movie this is in. There's like a part where like there's nothing going on. They're not outside, nothing crazy. But then all of a sudden, literally, at least I think out of nowhere, unless my TV's just really dark and I couldn't see it come up, all of a sudden there's a body standing.
Oh yeah, that was
really well done. I didn't see that until it was like,
you mean like just out in the darkness, or just
yes, not
there?
moving. Yeah. It wasn't moving. It was just standing there, but it was facing the opposite
Yep.
direction.
That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff, the scary stuff, was the best stuff about that. That stuff was really great. It was the people stuff, the everyday sort of like non-horror stuff that was not as good, right? Like the salesman.
Oh my God.
Like, okay. Like
that's why I said, like, what year is it? Like, no one's doing that anymore.
Not a lot of door-to-door salesmen. It wasn't well written, it wasn't well acted, and then like how quickly this man becomes like furious because
both of them,
one person doesn't open her door, and then he comes back a second or third time and like flips out on her again. And then
I thought that was somebody. I thought that was a different person.
No, it's the same
with person. A vacuum instead of a knife.
It was the exact same person. Yeah.
Was it supposed to be the same person though? Because
I think so. Yeah, he was like frustrated the second time.
I laughed about it because my thought is what are the odds that her house is the one that makes two salesmen
I think it was the same guy, and he was frustrated because she still wouldn't buy something from him the second time, and so he throws his vacuum cleaner in the yard and storms off and is ranting about his wife leaving him, and like,
yeah.
I mean, it had just no connection.
And the first time he has the knife out, and he's like, "Listen, bitch." I'm like, "What?"
He just goes, "Wait, you just like you threatened this woman
with
because
the
she
knife
wouldn't
in your hand
because she wouldn't buy your knife." Like, I mean, that was a stretch, and he would have gone to jail. He would have gone to jail for that. Like,
yeah.
And he comes back to her house again after threatening her with a knife, right? So that wasn't great.
I think they should have left those out and done something else with the time. Seriously, because I think if they had used that time to work on the story instead of some other random things, I think a little bit more of it could have been.
I think, yeah, I do think it was intended to be, I don't want to say filler. It was intended to be, there are other things that aren't dangerous that come to your door, when you have one of these cameras. There was somebody who drops off a package at one point. So I think that's what it was intended to be, except that they did it twice. He came twice, and he was ridiculous both times, so it really stood out.
There was some other, I think like, and I think like just going back to like talking about the human parts.
Yeah. Can I just go back to like a salesman for a second, and then we'll talk about the human stuff? I just want to say, I don't want to rat on it, but like, I had got to thinking like, and this is where the mistake was. I started thinking like, is he going to come back is he going to be involved? Is he the person who's been knocking on the door in the middle of the
Oh my
night?
God, I
Like,
didn't even think about that. Yeah.
yeah, like I was like, oh, is that why they're showcasing this guy? Is he relevant to this mystery? But no, he wasn't. He wasn't connected at all. So, anyways, so yeah, the human parts of this.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say that the human parts were really rough because of the acting. I
Yeah.
think like because okay, the premise is this well there's multiple premises, but we've got a female lead that has questionable mental health. We don't really know, like from the beginning,
Yeah.
we're not 100% sure what is going on, but we know there's something going on.
Yeah.
And I think that was in an effort to make her seem like we couldn't trust her, and like maybe
Yep.
what we were seeing wasn't real, but it didn't work because the other parts of the story. So then we get this weird backstory, and that's weird. I remember his name. You know, I never remember character names. We get this weird backstory with Jeff, who, by
Yeah.
the way, is not a healthy partner. Like,
Oh, not a
if
good
you
guy.
guys watch this and you have a significant other that acts like this, not a
Not a good guy.
healthy partner at all. The things he
Yeah.
says to her makes me want to vomit. So, anyway,
Yep.
aside from that,
But so like, but his story is one of my interpretations for everything
yeah,
that's going on. So
yeah,
like, was this her story? So was this her story? This is and actually one of the things I liked about it more is that I think the film started where you're thinking she's the protagonist and this is all about her, but
but
maybe
it's
was it
actually not.
actually his story?
It is, yeah. That's how.
So
I
was
mean,
was this yeah? So was this? My question was
yeah.
this her sort of hallucination, or was this his hallucination basically, and he was the one with the stuff going on, or was it both of them, or was it something supernatural? I don't think it was, but
I think
I
it
don't
was
know.
like PTSD.
The whole thing was, yeah.
And I think that her part to play in it was like her mental health stuff. I mean, I don't know. I see what you mean now about there being two potential. Because the other thing is like, could it have actually been something supernatural? Because I didn't walk away from it thinking like that it was all fake.
So there was actually a body, and he actually did that.
Well, no, I actually didn't think the body was real. I mean, like, okay, let me like I said that weird. What
Right, right.
I think that it was paranormal. I think it was part of not to say there's not flaws with that, because why would the paranormal haunt her? She wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, why
Right,
not be at his house on his front porch, right?
right.
Um, but maybe it was a story, like maybe she was trying to warn her. I don't know what the point of that part was. But anyway, my takeaway from it was that it was paranormal and I specifically went to this not being like a physical thing for real, like a mix of the two, because of the scene specifically after
Mhm.
she gets hit in the head, our lead, and she's coming down and she's like crawling over to the door. That trash can with the body
Yeah,
disappears.
that's true. Yep,
The
it does.
camera
Yep.
goes like, and then it's
But did it
gone.
disappear because it's paranormal, or did it disappear because she was hallucinating, or they were hallucinating the
I do.
entire
I,
time?
I would have a harder time believing they were both hallucinating. That would feel
That's
like
well, that was my problem with it. Yeah, I
they were
wasn't
just
sure.
really like they were out of it together, like or out of like.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so that's sort of where I wasn't sure exactly what I was
Yeah.
understanding about the movie at the end.
I don't think that the writing and the story, in all honesty, were the strengths anyway. But I mean, I would say, I don't know. Maybe it was a mix of the two things. Maybe she was hallucinating things. And then him opening up that story brought up a bunch of stuff for him. And then it
Yeah.
just became a double
One thing,
hallucination.
one thing that was tough about this movie, but it's just the nature of filming an entire movie out of a doorbell camera, is that there was an awful lot of conversation that they had directly in front of the doorbell camera. Even like at the very beginning when he's setting it up, there was like info dump and like a net, I don't know, just like a lot directly in front of the camera. And I know
Yeah.
that's a problem with just found footage in general, but like it was, I think, exacerbated in this movie because it literally was an immobile camera and they could only show us anything directly in front of it. So that was a challenge that they created for themselves. But
Yeah. I think there were some parts of that didn't work as far as like him being outside a lot by himself so we could hear the conversations to get the information. I don't think
yeah,
those worked. But the going outside to smoke did work. The scenes where she
sure.
goes outside to smoke, she has the phone call with the therapist, which they would never call and do all of that over the phone. But anyway, there was
That was weird too. The
that
therapist
was
was
super strange.
not realistic. Yeah.
No. And so, but yeah, I think that's why I feel like it's a really divisive because I feel like if you made this a 20-minute short, it would have been way scarier and way more effective. You cut out all the middle stuff, you clean up the story bit a little bit, make it a little more clear what you're trying to do. And this would make a fantastic 25-minute movie.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there even might have been some stuff they could have done in place of some of those scenes if you did want to keep it even the length that it was. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Didn't the main actor, he was he had
I
some
just
good,
noticed
good
what's on your
moments.
hat.
What's oh, my hat.
I didn't notice that. Oh my God.
Yeah, sometimes I'll wear that.
Oh, sorry. Malevolent Nevers, if you're new here, is one of Tom's books. I saw the Nevers and I was like, is that? I love
Yeah,
that.
written in this basement where I'm sitting right now.
I love that. That's fantastic. I just didn't realize because I can, I'm only looking up at the bill. I couldn't really tell what was on it. And then you just turned and I was like, wait a second, I
Oh
recognize
yeah,
that.
yep.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, I don't know. Yeah, so
Sorry.
the acting, some of the writing, but the scary elements, which is why we're really watching found footage in the first place, were really good. We're
And
spot
that's
on.
why, and that's what I liked about it. I liked the
Yeah,
scary parts that were effective. And I liked the premise. Those were the two strengths.
mm-hmm.
The acting was rough, and some of the pieces that came into play
Yeah.
really didn't need to be there. But I will say, because you're such big fans, you've already seen our Mr. Creep review and you know this, but my feelings on Mr. Creep, if I had not already been emotionally committed to watching this, probably would have kept me from watching it. But I am glad that I did not let that make me feel that way because this movie would make me watch something else that he did. Because we're already seeing the versatility in what he's trying to do in found footage. And you're already seeing the different possibilities of his mind. And I think like it would be worth looking into. He has done a lot of found footage. There's a lot.
Oh, one more thing I didn't love.
Go ahead.
I didn't. The guy, and I know he had PTSD. Maybe that's what this is, and maybe this explains what was hard to believe. But
yeah,
so his girlfriend, this woman jumps out and attacks his girlfriend. In what world is his initial reaction to grab a knife and just kill the person immediately? I mean, maybe that would be the reaction. I don't know. Maybe that was the sort of PTSD reaction.
like a triggering thing.
Yeah.
Well, the knife placement was a little too perfect in general. I kind of felt that way.
It was like so quick. It was like, oh, there's a woman on our porch. She shouldn't be here. Stab.
Yeah.
And then his immediate reaction wasn't to like call the police. Like someone attacked you on your porch.
I know what to do. Go get this.
No,
go get that.
I mean, you probably could have called the police. You were attacked on the porch and you were defending yourself. So like, I mean, it wasn't great, but like you made it a lot worse.
And then he bashes his girlfriend's head in. She passes out. He's like dragging her body over to the chair. That was so chaotic. It was exhausting, wasn't it? Like
for a short movie, yeah.
That was a lot. That takes up like the last quarter of it. It's that scene.
And fortunate for us, they do everything right in front of the camera. Everything. Like Yeah.
Oh,
What were the handprints? There were handprints like all over the place that they had to clean up. Like,
yeah. And they hinted that it was fecal
yeah,
matter.
yeah. But why? What does that have to do?
I don't know. I
That's not
didn't even think
scary
about the handprints.
particularly.
I kind of forgot about them.
Just makes you think there's like teenagers up to like no good. Like it doesn't feel particularly even connected to what ended up happening. So I don't know. So you like this movie more than I, but that tends to happen recently. We're going opposite directions with our
Yeah.
likes and our dislikes. Is
Yes.
okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's what makes the conversations fun. Although we have fun when we agree. It's just, just different views when we don't agree.
Yep. Yep. Well, so that is Unknown Visitor.
Yep.
Also,
2019.
sorry, not to add one more thing. Not fan of the title.
I also didn't actually like the title either. I think it should be called something else.
Doorbell camera.
He has a found footage movie called Cop Cam. So could have gone with that.
The Salesman. Or not the Salesman. I don't know. Go watch this movie. You should go watch this movie. It's enjoyable. You'll like it.
And it really does have some good scares. It really does have a cool concept. And like I said, we said it was 52 minutes. It's on Tubi, so you should watch it.
Yes. And now this is a few years old. Now there's a lot more people doing stuff with security cameras and that sort of thing. But for found footage films, I could say. But
'tis true.
All right.
We don't know what we're doing next.
No idea. It's going to be a surprise, so tune in and find out.
Yep.
Next
Friday. While you're waiting, go watch all of our other episodes because we're on episode like 85,000.
Definitely in the 30s. I think there's definitely.
I don't think we're not quite to 30. We're close though.
I think we are.
Are you sure?
Yep. I think we have over 30 episodes now.
You think we have over 30?
I do. Yeah.
I'm gonna look at the playlist really quick.
I could be wrong, but
you can't take it back now. I'm gonna go look.
Drum roll.
28. This is episode 30.
Oh, this is episode 30.
This is episode 30.
Because we already filmed the 29. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's impressive. So you have 30 episodes of Found Footage Fridays to go and watch.
Holy cow. Can you believe we've done that many?
No. All right, well.
Just keep on trucking through.
We want to find one, though, that we both love. It's been a little while.
That's scary and unique. Please give us recommendations, please.
Nobody ever puts recommendations in the comments.
We got one on, oh, God. I don't remember. Ron just commented on one today.
Oh.
And asked if we had seen, and I think you told me you saw this one. I haven't seen it. Megan is Missing.
Nope, I've never seen that.
Okay, so I haven't seen that one either, but he commented about that one on, I think, last week's or the weeks before. I don't know, one of the more recent ones.
You can look into that. But if you out there, viewer, one of our very many millions of viewers, if you have an idea, please comment below.
Please. We are eager to dive into some stuff we don't know.
Especially if it's free and on Tubi or something like that.
Or
streaming somewhere else.
That's really it.
All right, everybody.
But okay. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great week coming up. And Tom and I will see you next week.
See you next week.